Why silence in a relationship may not be golden.
Let's start from our upbringing. A child, right from the start, who is told to shut up, is likely to keep quiet throughout. We think every time you're saying no, defining, but you have to give people a piece of your mind. And I've been on record, I've told people, so if you go distributing a piece of your mind, what remains of you?
In relationships, when can silence actually be harmful instead of helpful?
Definitely, there is a place where we need to shut up. You've heard stories about partners who have told each other, I hate you, I don't even know how I ended up with you, I married a prostitute. Silence is golden when you don't have facts. Every time we are acting out of emotions, the whole brain is captured by emotions. Now, emotions have no logic. Life is so simple. You do a good act, it makes people happy.
Yeah. What would be a healthy way or a realistic way towards healthier communication? How would you advise them to begin to open up and to begin to speak up and communicate their needs in a way that is healthy and sustainable? Hello and welcome back to Reality Check. Thank you for joining us. If you are new, would love it if you subscribed to this channel and grow our Reality Check community. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. My name is Rachel and this channel cares for hearts and minds, and we do that through conversation on mental health, focusing on mental health in the areas of family, marriage, relationships, parenting, and the workplace. So if that's your vibe, you are in the right place, so welcome aboard. This week, we are going to be talking about why silence in a relationship may not be golden. You know the saying that silence is golden? Well, in a relationship, maybe not so much. And joining me to have that conversation is none other than Dr. Eva Satwine, looking ravishing in blue.
Thank you.
You look like you would pass for a princess or member of the royal family.
I take that. It's not too late.
No, it's not.
In any case, I'm part of God's royal family.
Yes, you are.
I am.
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we've missed you a couple of episodes and you were away.
Sadly,
but you're back.
But I'm back.
You are back.
I'm back.
Okay, so why silence in a relationship may not be golden? Maybe let's start with why people think that, keeping quiet maybe portrays humility or might be a good thing in a relationship.
Okay, so I'm happy to be here once again. Yeah, so why people think that silence will be golden, or where it comes from and all. So let's go back. I love psychology. Let's start from our upbringing. A child, right from the start, who is told to shut up, is likely to keep quiet throughout, or to be silent throughout, and not able to be expressive. And so that's a major source. And parents who are listening, please take note of this, because children definitely are not just let to say anything or do anything, and they are supposed to regulate their speech and all, but also not to be suffocated. So when they are suffocated at an early age, they tend to believe that they need to get a signal for permission from someone to be able to speak up. And that, once again, can go through life. Secondly, the way we have been nurtured. I do remember when I was young and my mom was head of Mothers Union. I think that's why I got a little traumatized and had challenges joining Mothers Union.
Really?
To be honest with you.
Tell us.
This will sound weird.
Yeah.
But I believed in being expressive, and a number of times I went with my mom to their meetings, and then I would listen in to some of the things. Imagine that as a young girl. And so they were talking about don't talk, don't talk, when your husband comes, put water in the mouth, like be that. To be honest with you. And you see, because moms are nurturers, most young girls have been told to don't talk, because keep peace. Keep peace. I'm sure you've heard
I've
that.
heard it, yes.
Yeah, keep peace. When someone talks, just put water in the mouth.
Count to
so
10.
You can even have imaginary water in the mouth, so that you do not cause chaos
the
and
peace.
conflict and all. Now that has some bit of truth, because, for instance, I do remember when these ladies would be sharing, they would say, when someone comes on full speed, on full energy, and they are ready to conflict, and of course there was a lot of domestic violence then.
Yes.
Even now, but then,
yeah.
because wife beating was such a big thing, and so it was one mechanism to help ladies to de-escalate conflict, and so they would say, just water, keep quiet, just make sure, because you can't speak with water, in the mouth. Now that kind of nurturing has gone on for a long time, and people think, when someone talks, just you keep quiet. Of course, on a bigger scale, it's dangerous. Thirdly, some people have been nurtured to believe that speaking up is rough, it's lack of humility, it is all. And then, of course, then silence confused for humility. You see? And again, I've heard especially men also say, now we have women who talk back, who speak up, who are dangerous, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But so there is this kind of the thought that, or notion that when someone is quiet, then they are peaceful.
They're peaceful.
So we confuse peace with quietness. Now, I've always told people, quiet doesn't mean peace. You can be dangerously quiet.
Yeah.
You see, you can be dangerously chaotic.
And one day erupt.
Yes. And of course, yeah. So that kind of suffocation of feelings. So they just tell you, just when you speak. So you've seen some people who low self-esteem, and then they confuse that for humility. That's not humility. No, it is actually low self-esteem. So the nurturing that doesn't encourage people to be curious, to be expressive, to share how they feel, to get feedback, to define boundaries, to, like all that. That hasn't, and it is still a big problem. It is still a very big problem, especially people confusing silence for humility. No. And by the way, this of course, it's more of a problem in relationships, intimate relationships, but even in the workplace. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look, I do counseling, workplace counseling, and I get people who come to me and they want to resign a job because of a challenge, a normal challenge they are having at their place of work. They say, oh, my boss treated me like this. I don't think I can stand it. I think I'm going to leave the job. I'm like, oh, so does your boss know what you're going through? No. Why don't you tell them? They say, no, they will fire me. They will fire me. And me, I just keep peace. And me, I just...
I don't want drama.
I don't want drama, that kind of thing. But that's not drama. Speaking up is not drama. And I understand where they're coming from, because we haven't been nurtured to know when to speak up and speak up well.
Yes.
I'm sure you've also heard this, I don't know what they call it, giving people a piece of your mind. We think every time you're saying no, defining, but you have to give people a piece of your mind. And I've been on record, I've told people, so if you go distributing a piece of your mind, what remains
what
of
will
you?
Be left with?
You see? So we don't know how to communicate. We don't know how to use the right words, be in a good emotional state, use your voice well, don't erupt, and be in a, you know, like your body language is okay, but you're able to communicate how you feel. Now, so that the nurturing especially has been a problem. It has been a problem.
Yeah.
When we were doing a session on parenting, I told you a category of parents that does not encourage their children or nurture children to be expressive. They just give them instructions. Those are the authoritarian parents, the tiger parents, those that just have to give rules and regulations, and then a child doesn't have, a child cannot communicate, they can't engage. They say you are a child in this house, listen, and all that. Now that's where much of the silence comes from,
yeah.
and then we cover it with gold. Then because you're suffocated,
Yeah.
now you have lost you have lost esteem, and you lack the courage to speak up and communicate how you feel. So what do? You just have to reduce your guilt, because we all feel guilty. Every time we are suffocated,
And
we
we don't
feel,
speak
yeah,
up.
we feel desperate on the inside, and we feel we should have come out and done, but then I can't do it. So if I can't do it, let me normalize it. So how do we normalize it? So you cover it with gold. So that's why you hear everyone is saying, oh, silence is golden. Silence is gold. But there are certain times when silence is not golden, as we're going to discuss.
Yeah, you must be able to speak up. I
You
guess
have to speak up.
the wisdom is knowing when to speak up.
When to speak
you
up.
know, and how.
And how to
I
speak
think
up.
that's it. You know, because when people complain about drama and, oh, me, I'm not chaotic, I don't like to, muddy the waters, I don't want to ruffle people's feathers, it's because the skill is maybe lacking.
That's the
when
thing.
you speak up and then you are faced with retaliation, then you cower because I don't know how to confront or be confronted. And so maybe let's talk about how in relationships, when can silence actually be harmful instead of helpful? Because we all know, I mean, you alluded to when you're trying to de-escalate a situation. In that case, maybe silence is golden. But are there any specific areas where, in this case, I think you need to speak up? Areas, scenarios, or moments in relationships where silence can be harmful instead of helpful?
Right.
Yeah.
When I was preparing for this session, I wanted to pick a book, and I'm going to share the title. I think it's a very great resource that everyone needs to have.
Oh.
Every person needs to have. It's a little book, and the title is "When to Speak Up and When to Shut Up." The author is Michael Selder. It's an amazing little book, and it helps us to know when to speak up and when to shut up. So definitely there is a place where we need to shut up. And I'm going to talk about those. When silence is golden.
It's golden, yes.
So when silence is golden, number one, when you're not in your normal emotional state, in a good emotional state. Now, I've shared this, so let me remind viewers. Just separate your brain into two. This is the logical part. This is the thinking part. This is the feeling part. The feeling part is important for us to know that we are normal, that we feel. Feelings are important. It's the emotional part. When I avoid emotional because people say, me, I'm not emotional. But we all feel.
We all feel, yes.
So this is the feeling part. This is where we feel happy, feel sad, feel anxious, feel, all the feelings that we have. And it's normal. This is a natural, it has natural fittings. You don't need to be motivated to be angry. No, you feel angry because of every time you face a situation that triggers anger, you're going to be angry. If someone treats you well, you feel happy. If you make a loss, you feel sad, right? All the feelings, all of them, think about them, hatred, regret and all that. You only need a situation, an external situation, then you feel. But then this part is not needs a lot of regulation. You've heard me say that even good feelings need to be regulated. You've had people who have gotten messed up because of extreme happiness.
Yeah.
So this needs to be regulated. How do you regulate it? You run the feeling by the logical part of the brain. So this is where you think. So I feel angry. The natural thing is that I would box Rachel. But then I'm going to think,
if I box
her,
she might box me back.
She might box me. I'll be embarrassed. Or what will people say? Or, I'm a therapist. Or, I mean, all the feelings here, the lust, everyone can feel lustful. But how you act on that, that's important. Now, why I'm telling you this is that then regulation is important. It's an important skill. Now, when you when you speak out of anger, for instance, you're going to say angry words.
True.
Then you will regret them later. You see that?
Yeah.
So that's why I was talking about when shutting up is golden. When silence is golden, then you have to make sure that you hold back, you don't speak in anger, because you might say things that you didn't mean. Now, again, in my practice, I mean, we know all this, even outside the practice. You've heard stories about partners who have told each other, I hate you, I don't even know how I ended up with you, I married a prostitute, I regret, you're the worst mistake I ever made. You know, like we are a witch. So all those, most of the time, they are informed by anger. Now, when we are angry, we tend to pull out a statement that can silence the other person. Right? But then regret them later, because words are powerful. So silence is golden when you feel you're not in a good emotional state. That's why we encourage people, just walk away. Walk away, because otherwise this is a big outlet. It can let out stuff that will cut generations.
That's true.
You see that? So do that. Because if, for instance, your partner tells you, you're the worst mistake I ever made.
How do you recover
So how do you recover from that? Now you recover, but that word,
it will never leave you.
That word will cut through the heart. So even in your good time, someone is going to say, wait a minute, did you say you love me now? You see that? So it's so important. That's why the skill of emotional regulation is so important. So, and how does it happen? You're going to run this by the logical part of the brain and say, how will I retrieve that? If I tell this person, maybe I'm just too angry. Does this solve problems? So you see how logic helps us? So it's very important. So silence is golden then. Number 2, silence is golden when you don't know, you don't have facts. And you don't just want to speak out of speculation. So I know why I'm talking about this. Because I've met couples, for instance, you just got a little thing.
So might have been a rumor or a feeling.
Little rumor or a feeling. But then, and I'm going to talk about a feeling, but you've got a rumor, and it's just this. Little. Then you build on it, then you make a whole situation. And then you talk about it in a sense based on your imagination.
Your imagination, yes. Not on facts.
Not on facts. So then silence is golden. Now, so I get people, for instance, and in my practice, I every time someone tells me, oh, there is this happening in our marriage and all and all and all. So I get interested to know how much they know about that. So they will say, oh, this friend of mine told me they saw this. Oh, this one told me they did. But then how much do you know? You see, do you have facts, or are you acting on half intelligence information, and which is likely to be dangerous? Now, please note that every time you speak out of half information, and concluded fact findings, then you're going to lose respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're speaking out of speculation and you don't understand. You don't understand. So in that sense, keep quiet. Even when you get a little information and you need to verify a few facts and all, silence is golden.
Yeah.
You see?
Yep.
Number 3, silence is also golden when the other party is not in a good emotional state. Right? So you've heard, I think we have someone in this nation who said, fire, fire, katsi, katsi. But it can't be that, because one of you needs to de-escalate. And conflict de-escalation is a skill. So when you realize both of you are boiling, you're just speaking, getting things out of your chest and putting them in another person's chest. You know, sometimes we speak to get things off our chest.
Yes.
But then you're planting it in another chest, and then it comes back to you. So the art of wisdom is such that when you realize one of you is not in a good emotional state, probably they are speaking out of anger, they only want to hurt you, so they are using harsh words. And so the art of wisdom is, well, I realize we are not doing well. We're just saying things. We are going around in circles. We're not solving a problem. Can we come back to this? Because you know what? Every time we are speaking or communicating or conflicting, it feels like a huge emergency.
Yeah.
But it's not.
It really
isn't.
Yeah.
It's not a huge emergency. If you waited a little bit, if you pushed it to evening, probably you'd be in a good emotional state. Now, let me say this, Rachel. Every time we are acting out of emotions, then the whole brain is captured by emotions. Now, emotions have no logic.
No, they don't.
Yeah, emotions have no logic. That's why after we've acted on emotions, then we go back to logic. What was I thinking?
What was that?
How did I say this? You see, any person listening, you know how many times, for instance, you've tried to undo
what you did when you were emotional.
Yeah. So emotions have no logic. They don't reason. So you have to make sure that you reason. So when someone is acting out of emotions, you know, at this emotional level, we are not supposed to make so many decisions. Decisions are made here. So this is the chamber that helps with decision making, planning, problem solving, regulation, and all. This is the, we call it the executive part of the brain. You know, this is where executive functions are done, not here, not feelings. So if anyone runs their lives based on feelings, that's where you see all this drama. I got into a relationship, I don't know how I ended up there. I don't know how, because you're acting on feelings. Feelings are driving you. So now when, going back to my point, that when you realize your partner is operating out of feelings, is angry, is anxious, is saying things that they don't mean, or doing things that don't mean, don't try to, you probably don't want to engage at that level, because that will be fire.
That's true.
Yeah. And so in that state, silence becomes golden. Now, when you de-escalate, then you also help the other party to think. Because I learned years back that when someone is fighting, why conflicts continue is because when I hit you, you hit me back. I hit you with, now the more it continues, the intensity also increases.
That's true.
But it's the same thing in communication. If you're talking and you're angry, you're saying angry words, the other party chooses to keep quiet, you're going to lose intensity.
Yes.
The energy reduces.
Yeah.
But also it helps you to think, because they are not feeding your agitation, feeding your anger. So for them, now when one party keeps quiet, then this other party is going to find it important to
calm
think.
down.
They
Yes.
are going to say, "Hey, what am I doing?" Now, when they are hitting you and you're not hitting back, the fight becomes uninteresting.
They're not engaging with
They are
you.
not
So.
engaging with you.
Yeah.
So when one party is able to engage in some logical thinking and they realize, no, this one is not okay, they are not okay, or we are not okay, then in that sense, then silence becomes golden. You know, and it doesn't mean that you're doing that to enable.
No.
You're not enabling,
No.
but you're saying it's not an emergency.
Yeah.
After this, we can deal with it.
Eventually, yeah.
Then that becomes helpful. So that's in such circumstances, silence becomes golden.
Okay. So can you share when it is harmful?
When it is harmful, when it's
Yes.
not golden.
When it's not golden.
Oh yeah, yeah. So when silence is not golden, number one is when we use it as an excuse for our lack of courage to speak up. Right?
Yes.
And so when we lack courage, so then we just
Cower.
we are cowards. We are covering it up. Now I have to make this important statement, Rachel. You see, feelings were not meant to be suffocated. So when we feel a certain way, we need to express it.
Yeah.
The form of expression has to be healthy. That's why, for instance, Scripture doesn't condemn anger. It acknowledges it. Scripture says, when you're angry, do not sin. It doesn't say if you're angry.
Yeah.
No, it is when you are angry.
Yeah.
That means we are created with that emotion. We can be angry, but we are not to sin. Now, I've had some people, for instance, say, "Oh, me in our marriage, we have never, we never conflict." Now, every time I'm doing premarital counseling, one of the questions I ask, and those that have gone through my premarital counseling program know, I always ask the couple when we are starting, I'm like, "Oh, what do you like about your partner?" And they give me a whole list of, they look at each other and say, "I love you, mad." And then I ask them, what negative thing do you know about your partner? They go like, negative? Then they struggle. But the other side, they needed an extra piece of paper to write the good things.
Yeah.
Now, I encourage people to know, I've talked about it, to know both sides. But one interesting question I ask couples, I say, have you conflicted? They go like, us? Conflict? No. You see that?
We love each other.
We love each other. And I say, oh, that's right. But then you'll find some that have conflicted. And one of the things I always tell people is, it's okay, it's normal to conflict, but you need to talk about it. And so I get some people, then so they will say, me, when he brings those things, I just so lack of courage
to speak up.
That's not cool. It's not nice for you to think that by covering it, by not talking and suffocating your feelings, and that's not golden. Now what happens, building on that, is that when you suffocate feelings are, we have what we call emotional cleansing. For your mind and your soul to be healthy, you need to cleanse, you need to wash. So the same way we wash the body, we need to wash the soul. How do we wash the soul and the spirit? Through talking, through narration, through expression of feelings. For instance, if you tell someone, I love you, you know what that does? It cleanses you. You see, when you have good thoughts about a person, that's cleansing. Now, we never think about some of these things. When you speak about how you feel, when you, even before, that's why you hear statements like, a problem shared is halfway solved.
Yes.
It takes a burden off you. That's what we call cleansing. So when you suffocate, you're angry, I've had people say, when I'm angry, I just keep quiet. What do you mean you keep quiet? Shutting up there is not golden. Because what it does, when especially, now even love, by the way, if you suffocate love, if you suffocate love, you're going to swell on the inside. Now I'm just using. But you see, and by the way, look, have you ever, Rachel, you'll not tell me, but people who are listening, if you have ever felt this intense love for someone, you want to tell them.
Sure.
You want to tell. So what is that? It is actually expression of feelings. So this is powerful. So even the good feelings need to be expressed. But more the negative. So if you feel angry, if you feel regret, if you hate someone, if you hate your partner, because I'm in marriage counseling, some people hate their partners. And to be honest with you, they do. They do, like passionately hate them, but they are there. They are mistreated, they are what? So they just hate their partner. Now, these emotions feed each other. So if you start with anger, you don't deal with it, it's going to grow into hate. Right? And you find that the emotion of anger was released out of just a little behavior or misdemeanor or whatever, but you didn't deal with it. You didn't deal with it. It's going to grow. But let me finish my point. If these emotions, you see, one emotion triggers another. You see, you have anxiety. It's going to get you. If you don't deal with it, you can end. It can end in depression. If you can have excessive sadness, if you have regret, every day you're regretting why you married your partner, you're going to get extremely sad because everything you're processing is regret. How did I end here? I missed this ex. Oh, I didn't. I wish I did here. What do you think you're doing? It's going to lead into sadness. Before you know, you're extremely depressed. Now, that's also suffocating feelings, suffocating your words and feelings, are not able to express them and tell someone, this is not going right. I feel this way. I feel worried. I see how you come at 3 and I'm wondering what is going on. Because where are you from office to 3 a.m.? You know, because every behavior makes us feel a certain way. So it's so simple. Life is so simple. You do a good act, it makes people happy. Your partner does a good act, it makes you happy. Your partner does a bad act, it makes you sad. So what are you to do about that? Do you just keep quiet?
No.
Me, I see him, I just keep quiet. So when you just keep quiet, what are you doing? You're suffocating feelings. You're bottling up. Now, when you do that, it becomes a recipe for more and more and more problems. Because then you are not expressing. Now, bottled up feelings, I have to make viewers understand. Every time you bottle up feelings, the body responds by producing more stress hormones.
Which are not good for
which are not good for us. Because stress hormones are called emergency hormones. They're just supposed to be in our bloodstream for emergency purposes. For instance, if they call you and say, oh, your child has burnt themselves, then you go, Now, what happens is that they help the brain to function very quickly, generate quick solution, respond to emergency, and then you do. But now, and after that, then they get flushed out of your bloodstream. But when you do not, every day, you're anxious, you're wondering, and I'm using this example of partners coming back home late. Your partner, today he comes at 2, tomorrow he comes at 3, tomorrow another day he comes at 4. On Thursday he's lenient, he comes at midnight. and you're home, but between the time you came home, didn't find them, and 3, what are you thinking and what are you feeling? And then you're not able to come out and say, I feel worried.
You're quiet. With your anxiety.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then you be quiet. You say, well, now what are you doing? You're just deflating, and that's not healthy. That's how some people, because you're processing sadness, and every day you're not flashing it out by engaging with your partner and say, by the way, I'm worried.
Yeah.
I'm imagining, like, every day
Yeah.
you're in a bar or you're with boys or girls from this time to this time. What's going
What's
on?
happening
So
there?
there is a way you're feeling, but you're not able to come out and speak about it. When you don't, there is your body. You don't need a lot of motivation. Or the body doesn't need a lot of motivation to be angry, rather to produce hormones, because those negative negative emotions, they just play. And of course, as I mentioned, you start with one, it invites cousins, and before you know, you started with anger, you're regretting, you're sad, you're frustrated, you're like all the emotions, but you're not able to express them. Your partner doesn't know how you feel, so that becomes a problem. So in that case, silence is not golden.
That's true.
So you have to pick the courage to speak and communicate feelings.
Yeah.
You see? Now, why people say, I don't know what to say, I'm just me, I'm quiet. They don't know how to express it. And at this point, in case I forget it, it's important to name your feeling. How are you feeling? I feel sad. You see, I feel lonely. I feel, because when someone speaks out and said, "Oh, Nashi, you're coming back home every day," then the other one gaslights them. Or do you want me to come and kill Matoke in the house?
But I come home.
But I come. You should be lucky that I come. I've had those as well.
Oh, Lord.
Lucky that you came. Wow.
Right.
Wow.
And then the partner
then the
shuts
partner
down.
shuts
Yes.
down.
After all, he has come home. What do I do?
You see? So the way you approach it, you're communicating your feelings. And no one will kill you for your feelings. That's how you feel. Because of what you're doing, I feel this. I feel worried that our relationship is getting affected. I feel we are disconnecting. I feel our children are confused. I feel this. I feel that. No one can say, why do you feel?
It's my feeling.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. That's how
Now, I
feel.
might not, my feelings might not be rather accurate,
Facts, yes.
but I feel there is something wrong. I mean, one of the things that, for instance, partners are struggling with, someone comes, the first 5 minutes in the house, they are on phone. They are laughing. They are, and then the person serving them, they don't even see them. They are on phone. So how does this make you feel? I feel you're disconnecting. I feel this. I feel I'm worried. Like, who are you with? Well, every time you're talking on phone, you're opening the gate. I mean, like, so many things that are happening. So it's very important to name our feeling and communicate how we feel.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
Not making conclusions, but communicating how I feel. Now, this is very important in relationships because your partner needs to know how you feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see? And again, he or she will not kill you because of how you feel. So that's one of the ways to communicate authentically, because once we are able to name our feelings and express them,
Got it.
then we are not going to act in anger, because then we are accurate with our feelings.
That's true.
Number 3, in terms of when is it
harmful?
When is it
when is silence harmful?
when we cannot use it to communicate our needs. Yeah, when we cannot communicate our needs, it is harmful.
Yeah.
Then we say, can't he see?
Oh dear.
Or doesn't she know? All women do that. No. Then you keep silent.
It's not helpful.
That's not helpful at all.
It's not helpful. I think the other thing that people grapple with, I thought about it as we were speaking, is, and this maybe goes to like the reasons why people keep quiet, is personalities. there are personalities that are non-confrontational, and someone will tell you, I'm married to somebody who he doesn't like or she doesn't like confrontation. You know, every time I bring up a conversation, I'm trying to express a need, a feeling, a concern, then the other person will shut down. And so it becomes a pattern in the relationship that my needs or my feelings are not regarded. Therefore, it doesn't make sense for me, you know, to
I
speak
hear
up.
you,
Yeah.
yes. And of course, the personality, phlegmatics suffer so much.
They do.
Whenever I'm training people on self-discovery, and we do a session on personality discovery, one of the things I tell the phlegmatics are the peace people, very peaceful, even
Hello.
their and even their eyes communicate peace.
Yeah.
You can see them.
Yeah.
And they have so many strengths, but one of the weaknesses is inability to confront situations, to speak up. And it's a weakness, it's not a plus.
No, it's not.
No, it's a weakness. And we always encourage people whenever they are doing self-discovery, please put the right label on your traits, on your natural traits, because if for instance, keeping quiet and inability to confront or to engage, you call it a plus. No, it's not. It's a weakness. It's important to speak up. That's why most of the time flags are abused. I hope you are aware, according to relational science. Flags actually suffer so much abuse in relationships, especially when they are married to a choleric. Yeah, a choleric can just submerge you. And so if you're not able to speak up and communicate your feelings and define boundaries and say, no, I'm okay with you talking to me, like rather telling me about this concern, but I'm not okay with you speaking the way talking to me this way. Or by the way, I like it when you do this. I appreciate if you do this. So communicating needs, establishing boundaries in relationships. If you're not able to do that, silence is not golden. You know, you can't be in a partnership which you manage by silence. You can't manage a partnership by silence. You see, I've heard stories about some of the delegates from our country who go to make big discussions and negotiations and trade discussions and engagements with the other partner nations. And what happens? I don't have all the facts, but sometimes people don't read documents. I've heard stories, I don't know, again, I'm just communicating what I've heard, like some people don't read documents, and when they are discussing, they cannot negotiate properly because they don't know what is in the documents, or they've gone shopping, or they are not available. We can't run partnerships that way. So you can't run a partnership where someone tells you their terms. That means they're going to manage the relationship on their terms, and they don't have an idea what you're expecting. And actually, that's one of the things I wanted to mention. When you're not able to express your expectations in a relationship, and you think your partner is going to operate on mind reading, that's dangerous.
It is.
That's very dangerous. So in that sense, silence is not golden. It's not golden. Then, of course, Rachel, the other issue is when you're not able to help your partner, like I mentioned, if someone is emotional, there are so many people who come to me and say, I think my partner has an anger issues.
Okay.
Right? And so you're not able to, I talked about de-escalation, keeping quiet in the moment with a view
to discussing later.
That is extremely important, because then you can't just keep quiet. Now remember, especially for when you're married to a manipulative partner. In one of the sessions, we talked about narcissism. Now, for instance, your partner is narcissistic, and every time they come to you, you keep quiet. You're basically giving this person a green light that to do whatever they want, because you never speak back and say, look, this I feel this way, this I feel this way, this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable behavior as far as I'm concerned. And I know some partners, when they are told, this I cannot accept, they say, who are you? It's okay. At first, when you define that boundary, they can react. But don't worry. It is okay. Continue.
Yep.
Make sure that you're consistent with communicating.
Yeah.
So communicate expectations, communicate boundaries, communicate needs, and be able to say, this is what I expect from this relationship. So once you're not able to do that, and you're not able to de-escalate your partner's anger, their emotional expressions that are unhealthy, then that can be a problem. In that sense, silence
is not good.
It's not good.
Yeah. Someone might be watching today and they're sure that you're describing them in the sense that maybe they are non-confrontational, or they have used silence as a method, an approach, without even coming back to discussions and, having those conversations later. What would be a healthy way or a realistic way towards healthier communication? How would you advise them to begin to open up and to begin to speak up and communicate their needs in a way that is healthy and sustainable? Because if you're dealing with personality, I know I'm definitely flag. And I'm not where I used to be. I've learned over time to communicate my needs, to express myself. But it can be daunting at first if someone has not, it's like if I speak up, maybe they are going to hit back, they're going to retaliate. So the fear of retaliation is real. What would your advice be for someone like that?
So, yes, you've given me part of the answer.
Oh, okay.
We have to know that every time we don't speak back, or we don't, sorry, not speak back, but speak up. Every time we don't speak up, we need to check why. Why? Do an internal exercise and check why. You see, like you have mentioned, we fear retaliation. Now, supposing they retaliate. You die?
No.
You don't. Yeah. So there is always a fear, but we need to challenge that fear. Is it real or is it imaginary? Now, every time, of course, we don't do something, there is a fear attached to it. But what is it? Now, most of the time we don't go to check what that is. What is it? So how are they going to retaliate? Now, whenever I'm doing therapy, I ask people, so would you rather keep operating like that? They say, I hate it, but then why are you not engaging? But he's going to, supposing they do that.
Then what?
Then what? So we need to do, even without coming to a therapist, you need to ask yourself those questions, right? Why am I fearing to talk? Right? Is it because I have peace?
Most likely no.
You see that? Because most of the time there's no peace. And anyone that has interacted with me, you've heard me ask you, are you sure you have peace? Because they say, I did talk about in the interest of peace. Now, you already lost peace a long time ago.
Yes.
There's no peace. You have no peace. You're just shielding something imaginary. You have no peace. You cannot be fearful, anxious, and all that, and then have peace. Anxiety and peace don't dwell in the same place.
Not at all.
You see that? Now, so you need to find out, why are you keeping quiet? Is it because of peace? You have peace? No. You don't have peace? Okay. Now, if you do not have peace, then why are you keeping quiet? It's fear. What am I fearing? What I'm fearing, is it real or is it imaginary? Okay, let's assume it is real. Is it harder than
keeping quiet?
Yeah.
It's a fair question.
You see that? So what I'm fearing, okay, they will. So that's important. But most importantly also is, so when I engage, what am I likely to benefit? So you need to look at the benefits of engaging vis-a-vis the dangers of engaging and be able to do that kind of assessment and see. Because I can talk to my partner and they will probably fire back or say something unreasonable or whatever. Now, if I want to protect my soul, I have to be very careful that my soul is at peace. Right? For instance, if I know every time I engage with my partner, they just say unreasonable things. Right? So what do I do? I'll have also to check, is it in the way that I engage? Maybe I don't evaluate my words. Maybe I use harsh words. Maybe my voice tone is threatening. Maybe my body language doesn't communicate respect. Why am I not? So there is a whole thinking that has to happen
around it.
So we don't just keep quiet and then cover it with gold and say, I'm okay.
After all,
silence is golden. No,
Yeah.
it is very important to do that whole work and find out, what am I fearing. Now, interestingly, sometimes we take to do what we are fearing most, and it can benefit us a lot. Now, you've always let me encourage listeners and viewers that every time we speak up, this is a tool that actually gains us respect.
Okay.
This can gain us respect or lose it. Right? You've heard the scripture in Proverbs that says even a fool is perceived to be wise when they are quiet.
Yes.
And we use it out of context. But we can also use this as a powerful tool to earn respect. You see, engagement is powerful. Words are powerful. Have you ever sat with someone and they are quiet, but when they speak, you're like, wow, so much wisdom, so much understanding, but also, I think this person needs to be respected. So this needs to be used powerfully for us to gain respect. For instance, if you say, when you said that, I didn't understand. Would you clarify? You're challenging the other person to know that you're defining rules of the game. Yeah. So it is very important for people to know that's okay. Now, if you talk to someone that disrespects you and all that, as I mentioned, first evaluate how you approached it. I'm sure we'll talk about approach, how you approached it, because sometimes we can communicate a need properly, but you communicate it with wrong words, abusive words. Your voice tone is very insulting and disrespectful. Yelling. You can have a good point but miss it through a voice tone. You can also have a good point but miss it through your body language. Your body language can communicate disrespect. You look at someone, I don't know,
measuring them,
measuring them, you're rolling your eyes, you're doing all manner of things. That's dangerous. So in that sense, you lose the point. But if you have communication is a skill. I've mentioned it here. Communication is a big skill. Communication is not talking. It is a big skill. That is 7% accurate words, that is 38% good voice tone, that is 55% body language. So all that, and of course 93% is non-verbal. So the non-verbal cues and the way someone really puts up that stature, your emotional stature, it can make someone threatened or attentive. You can call their spirit to listen to you or to resent it. You see, it can cause trouble, it can cause peace. You see, so it's very important that we evaluate the way we are approaching it.
That makes a lot of sense. You talked about approach, and I think hearing it from you from a behavioral science perspective or from a therapy perspective would be very, very helpful. So again, someone has maybe had trouble in the past speaking up because of the things that you have just mentioned. I remember actually receiving a message from someone who said, they are tired. I've been trying to talk to my husband about ABCDE, but every time I do, it's almost like I'm not communicating. Like what he receives is disrespect. I'm not hearing you, and so the person was frustrated. So there might be a category of people like that who think they speak up. They have no problem speaking up, but when they speak up, it's not received well often. Then there's the category who, like me, sometimes struggle with confrontation. So do you have, whether it's a step-by-step approach or a method to this madness that is communication, in terms of how do you speak up? What is the best way to present your concerns, your needs, your fears to your partner, your boss? I think we can even widen it to speaking up in the workplace. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so before I forget, I had meant to talk about confrontation. Every time the word confrontation is mentioned, it's given a negative connotation. But there's what we call healthy confrontation. And so confrontation is not necessarily wrong or hard or wrong. It is there is healthy confrontation. There is sitting someone down and saying, you know what, let's talk about this. The last time you mentioned this, it made me feel this. I think I didn't understand you, or you may be, but that's exactly how I feel. That is confrontation. Okay, going back to the partner that is not receptive, and of course, as you talk about it, I know there's a lot of exhaustion where one partner is pursuing the other to talk, especially men who take pride in me. I keep quiet and go to work and go to the bar and come drunk and sleep, and it becomes a cycle. But it's frustrating. Let me start by validating the feelings of that person. It's extremely frustrating, especially when you try this. Now, it reminds me, I think I've shared on this show, that our first years of marriage, I didn't want to hear anyone talk about communication, because you see, when I was getting married, the priest who counseled us and of course officiated at our ceremony, when she was counseling us, she told us, communicate. People communicate. By the way, I got traumatized by that whole thing, because they said communication is the key, communication is the bloodline of everything, communication is important, communication. I said, yeah. Oh, I went into marriage, I was ready to communicate. Now, please note that my personality, communication is not a problem, because as we talk, we are talkers. Talkers tend to think that communication is talking. So I got in, and I was ready to talk. But you see, whoever prepared me for marriage didn't tell me that in marriage, communication also depends on personality. They didn't tell me that you can be married to someone who has trauma, and they might not be able to talk about certain things, so you need to be aware of that. They didn't tell us that communication also, you have to mind your words, you have to mind the three components I talked about, the words, which is 7%, the voice tone, which is 38%, the body language, which is 55%. So they just set us off and say, oh, go talk, go communicate, and then we think it is that. Now, my personality and my husband's are totally different. He's the quiet type. He's the phleg, melancholic. I'm sanguine, choleric.
Ooh. Very different.
Very different. And we get in, get set, go, and then now we start clashing. And then you go to ask people, but us, we can't communicate, because you come with full energy. You even by the way, good communication, inspired communicating from a standpoint of conviction. I communicate with a lot of energy. My husband, on the other hand, is calm, or takes his time, and And one of the things I think I didn't want to hear, which I always share with my clients, was I have full energy. I run and get things, and I'm achievement focused. I want to achieve this and that. Now, when I come and I'm communicating, I'm like, "Ooh, I saw land here. I think we can get it." Then he's a thinker, because I'm a feeler. He's a thinker. Yeah. No one told us that. So when I tell him, he thinks. So I would hear a statement, let me think about it. And I'm thinking, no, why? There's no time to think about it.
We need to act now.
So do you see, no one has told us that actually that's a thinker, and in his thinking, that's a huge benefit. Now, what happens when people communicate, like plans, visions, and all, they don't allow the other party to think, to
come around as well,
because of their personality. And so they'll go like, there's no time to think. You've heard statements like, this person is laid back, or slow for me, or, you know, and that's how we don't allow each other and benefit from each other. So speaking up and speaking this, whatever you're speaking, then you have to consider that your partner is different. That's a very, very important factor. Your partner is different, and their difference, are you using it to your advantage, or are you resisting it, dismissing it, or insulting it? Because if, for instance, you tell someone, you're too slow, your brain doesn't think. I mean, there are some people, some partners who are really brutal. And so they will say such statements, but you're not considering that your partner is different. They're different. They process information differently
from you.
They process your concern differently. If you bring a concern and you say, you treated me this way, they go like, did I? And then you say, look at you, you're so insensitive, you don't. No, allow them to process it. You've given them a concern, do that. So that's a very important step. Number 2, for people to also, you the communicator, to take time and evaluate your communication. I think I've already mentioned it. How is your approach? How do you approach issues? Are you rough? Please remember, like I mentioned, when you approach an issue yelling, someone misses the message.
That's true.
They hear noise, they miss the message. So if you have an important message to communicate, that's why I was saying, communicate a feeling. Then this person will connect with you.
The feeling,
if you say, oh, this thing, when it happened,
this is how I felt.
It's also important, Rachel, as we talk about tools, avoid being accusatory.
Yes.
When you accuse, the party that you're communicating with will pull down their shutters.
And defense mechanisms. They want to defend themselves.
When you accuse, when you label, when you insult, when you use you, then you have lost it. So in speaking up, it's very important to be empathetic communicators, empathetic speakers. And so it's important to consider the recipient of your message. But if you accuse and label and insult, you never do this, now that pushes someone
away.
It pushes them away, and it doesn't help things. You can, so that's what happens usually when you hear people say, I speak, and so in most cases that's where it comes from. And just to amplify the importance of empathy, I encourage people, every time you're going to speak something, be your first recipient of your message.
Test it on yourself.
Test it on yourself. Now, this takes like microseconds in your brain. It's just a simple thing for you to say, if someone said this to me, how would I feel? How would I feel? So that helps us, because that's how we talk about empathetic communicators. Don't say anything you want your partner to say to you. So if if you come off, you're trying to speak up, and then you say, I'm so frustrated with you, and then you leave your partner
Wounded.
Not only wounded, but hopeless. Because sometimes we make statements that leaves a partner just hopeless. They say
There's nothing to
there's
do.
nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not unusual to get partners who say, really? I remember this poor guy who was telling me, for my partner to say I'm the worst
Choice,
choice,
mistake.
worst mistake that has ever happened to them. And he's like, okay, I know that we can make this relationship work, but wait a minute.
How? Yeah.
How? So, how? Now, if you ask their partner, if this partner said that to you, how would you feel?
How would you feel?
How would you feel?
Yeah.
So and by the way, Rachel, this comes from a place of emergency. So when you see me emphasize emergency, we run life like a huge emergency. If I don't say it today,
then I'm going to erupt.
You cannot erupt. You can't erupt. They say I can't make it up to tomorrow. You can't.
You can.
So it's important for us to be empathetic.
Yeah.
Empathetic communicators and speakers, and know that certain words that you wouldn't want to hear or someone say to you, don't say them.
Don't say them.
Don't say them. Or test those things on yourself and see how you feel.
Yeah.
Very, very important. Now, I also just want to say something about what the tools. Don't communicate in anger. Communicating in anger takes things off your chest and brings them back. Eventually. Because you say things, then you feel okay in the moment, but then later on you have caused damage on the other side, and this is going to come back somehow.
So you have another issue.
Yeah, so you have another issue.
Yeah.
So in terms of approach, it's something that we all need to consider, because I mean, it's easier said. You know that we all say things in anger, but we need to go back and say, did it help? You see, most of the time we get used to operate in the malfunction. Oh, I do this. Me, when I'm angry, I just give people a piece of my mind. But what are you doing? Okay, so distribute the mind, and then we see where that stops. It always ends in tears, because you communicate in anger, and you glamorize your anger, and you validate everything you do, but you have to know that ultimately you're causing more damage, and you're not solving a problem. You had one problem, but now you're likely to end with 10.
Yeah.
So don't speak in anger. And again, scripture is clear. When you're angry, do not sin.
Yes.
You know, angry words, they bruise the spirit. Now, when you cannot keep operating that way. When I've, for instance, seen and experienced that when couples when people are newly married, you can put up with that behavior. Your partner can put up with that behavior. You're angry, you say bad things, you abuse them, you do that, then you come and say, I'm so sorry. They say, oh yeah, but it doesn't last. If you continue with that, it's going to cause exhaustion on the other side. And someone will get to a point where they say, I think I'm done. So it's very important that we consider using the right words and avoiding anger, being driven by anger to communicate.
When we are communicating.
Yes.
I like what you say about testing the words
on yourself.
Yes, I think because no man doesn't love himself. And so doing that test run before you open your mouth to say something to someone else is very helpful, because when the words are released, then they can't be unheard, and you don't want to create more problems for yourself. So I think we are in agreement that yes, there are moments in relationships where silence is important, and then there are moments where you do need to speak up, especially when you must communicate your needs and your concerns and your challenges and your fears. As we wrap up, Dr. Evers, I want you to speak to the person. So you've told us, yes, evaluate yourself, do their self-reflection in terms of how you are speaking, maybe to speak to not just someone, to couples in general, as your parting shots, how they can create an environment for healthy communication.
That's
for
right.
Healthy, I can speak up now. Maybe now let me give it some time. You know, my person maybe is dealing with something at work. We can come back to this conversation later. Yeah, how can couples create that environment?
Very important, Rachel, because you remind me that one of the things I was supposed to respond to you about partners that won't listen.
Yes.
It is so frustrating. It's very, very frustrating because every time I get couples who say we can't communicate, you'll find that one is ready to speak,
Yes.
Another one is not ready to speak. Now, you'd hear some of them say, me, I'm not a talking person, but all of us are talking people. If you don't speak in your marriage and you don't talk to your partner, most likely you're talking to walls, you're talking to the car, you're talking to other people that are not concerned about, or you're talking different things. Somehow we talk. But it's important to know, once again, Rachel, I emphasize the issue of partnership. This is your partner. If you're not a talking person, your partner is a talking person. So you have to create an environment of listening. Now, again, it takes me back to what I mentioned earlier, that why don't people talk and why don't people listen? There is a fear attached. But the thing is that fear real?
Yes.
Or it's imaginary? Now, why I'm talking about this is that people who do not create an environment, they run. They run. So they say, we'll talk about it in the evening. Then evening comes. Remember, when you tell your partner, we'll talk about it in the evening, they are expectant.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. They expect that in the evening we'll talk about it. Then you run again. You come, or maybe you come when they are sleeping. You are avoiding. That creates anger. So any couple listening, please sit and talk. No one is going to die. You know, because, for instance, someone says, I know that our communication never ends in a good place because then we are going to quarrel. You would rather quarrel and finish. But I want to tell you, when people are mature enough, and by the way, listening is a sign of maturity. And attentive listening. Attentive listening. Can I tell you what attentive listening is? It's listening with curiosity.
Okay.
So when your partner, when you make a decision to be a good listener, you're creating a good environment for your communication, right? So an attentive partner can never fear any danger, because you remember that de-escalation I talked about. Even when your partner is so angry, but you listen, you say, I'm here, I am listening, please talk to me. That calms someone down, because emotions are triggered. So when you create that environment, this person is going to calm down. When they calm down, then now you are able to listen. Now, every time someone is talking to you and you're listening, when attentive listening, you listen with your eyes. With your eyes, yes. With your eyes. Yeah. That's why in therapy, when someone is talking to me, we listen with our eyes, but we don't just listen with our eyes. We lean forward. Okay, what does this mean? It means I'm interested in what you're telling me. You see? Yeah. So if partners become active listeners, you listen with your eyes, you listen with your heart. Someone will see that you're listening to them, and then of course you listen with your ears. Then that way you're creating an environment of intelligible conversation, good conversation, healthy conversation. But what happens? Every time a couple is complaining of inability to communicate, one party is running.
Yes, avoiding.
And again, we glamorize avoidance. Yeah, we say, me I go. Me when she starts
Me, I
those things,
stand up
I
and
run.
walk away.
Me that man with quarrels. But
Yeah.
why are they quarreling?
Yeah.
It is because you're not listening.
Yeah.
Now, please note that listening is also a sign of respect for your partner. Yeah, I've told parents that children interpret our ability to listen as respect for them. Right?
Yes,
So, good listening, an attentive listener is actually a respectful listener, communicator. So, when you are able to listen and you're not worried about who is going, your partner won't erupt. In fact, when you create that, for instance, when you tell your partner, let's talk in the evening, and you honor that,
wonderful. Yes.
that can actually solve half the problems.
Yeah.
So it's very important to create that environment and then talk. But also, when in terms of creating a healthy environment, please take time to understand what someone is talking. You've heard me say most of the time we listen to respond and not to understand.
Yep.
But when your partner is communicating, listen to them. Be curious about what they are saying.
Yeah.
What are they saying? Maybe it makes sense. But most of the time, people respond on half information.
Yeah.
Or even less than half.
Less than half.
Your partner has just started talking. You're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you saying?
What have you heard?
What have you heard? You know, what have you heard? Listen, because you see, in expression of emotions fully, allow your partner to express their emotion fully. Don't act on half. Let them talk and then ask them, have you finished? Now, I know the danger with that, have you finished? Some people sometimes say, have you finished? Okay.
And then that's
go.
it.
But that's not the have you finished that I'm talking about. You can actually say, I want to respond and I want to know when you're okay for me to respond to you, what you're saying. Maybe avoid have you finished because it's abused. But it is important. Now, when you do that, a person feels valued, they feel respected, they feel you honor them, and then they are happy. Now, you create an environment that then facilitates good exchange of ideas, of information, of updates, of that. That's how people have good, healthy relationships. They are not made in heaven, they are made here.
Yeah.
Good relationships are made here.
Yeah.
And they are made by such simple little things. Now, your partner could be saying things that are imaginary or, illusional and all that. It is okay. It's okay. It's okay for them also to say those, and you listen because you're paying attention to them and not you. So most of the time, I don't avoid being you. Then, of course, creating a good environment, don't accuse. Don't accuse. And you say, you've started gaslighting.
You've started.
Gaslighting. Now you've started your things. No. Let them talk.
Yeah.
So in that way, you create a good and healthy environment for not just communication, but exchange of ideas, exchange of feelings, and then, of course, validating.
Yeah.
Validating, not being dismissive. Can you imagine when every time someone speaks, you gaslight them, you tell them,
you've started.
What's that? And all that. That's how we are going to enjoy good relationships. That's because true. Speaking is healing.
It is. Yeah. It really is. And I think, to your point, when couples create an environment like that, there can even be empathy extended when one of you is not in position to have a conversation.
100%.
Because we've been talking about silence in this case. And the silence we are saying, you require wisdom to know when to speak up and when not to speak up. And I think if you have created that environment, then if somebody is dealing with something outside of the home, maybe there is stress, probably even from the home, financial or otherwise, I'm going to extend the grace to you because we have created that haven.
100%, yes, because you have a deposit to.
Exactly.
Yeah, but Um, one of the things I remember when we were still struggling with communication, then you go to church and then you go to marriage fellowship and you hear people say, "Oh, just talk. Let your bedroom be." What do they say? Let your bedroom ever be a sanctuary of what? And then now you go to the bedroom is for sleeping. You go to the dining is
it's
for
for
eating. You
eating.
go to the kitchen
There's
is.
no
You're
room.
like, where do we talk from? But
Yeah.
I want to encourage couples, as long as your hearts are connected, it doesn't matter. Now, you can speak from your bedroom. And again, I've had partners who gaslight others and say, this bedroom is not a courtroom. But no, it's once you're willing to have a communication, it doesn't matter. You can talk through issues properly. Now, sometimes it's challenging, Rachel, because there are people, for instance, who say, okay, home is not good, let's go out. Then someone goes like, even when we go out, we are trying to solve problems. It's okay, because life is about problem solving. So key thing for me is the hearts being willing to listen to each other. No emergency, no one is going to die. You're going to talk, and whether they are hard feelings, one of you has to make a decision to listen to them.
Sure.
The moment you listen, you choose to listen, that hard thing is going to melt away. You see, you realize that the person is no longer so agitated because you have chosen to listen. Now, did you know, for instance, Rachel, that we communicate with people based on how we perceive them?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, for instance, if you perceive your partner as not responsive, does not listen, you're going to be agitated.
That's true.
Because you're
waiting for the non-response. Yeah.
You see? Yeah. So we tend to communicate with people based on how we perceive them. If we perceive them to be great listeners, we're going to be calm. And then we're going to be relaxed communicators. But if we perceive them as being resistant, we're going to come with full energy, with agitation, and you find that now you make things worse. So if you asked, the decision to be a good communicator is going to be a choice. That's and a true. Decision.
That's true.
It's not that you're married to someone made in heaven. It's not you're going to make heaven come here and you be heaven to your partner, and then you listen to them. You listen and then you de-escalate all the negative emotions.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much for this. I mean, there's a lot to learn, even for myself, in terms of, knowing when to speak up, how to frame, your conversation, thinking through what you want to say before you say it. And I do hope that this has been helpful for you as well. Leave us a comment if it has, and perhaps let us know which one has been a pain point for you. At what point? Is it the speaking up, or is it the silence?
And the listening.
And the listening, yes. That might be the struggle area for you. But that's it from us. If you do need any further support in terms of, how to come out of your shell, I'm sure Dr. Eva's here, who is a life coach, can be very supportive. So take advantage of the numbers on the screen, make an appointment with her and have that conversation. But until next week, from us to you, it is stay well, stay healthy, and don't forget to subscribe and keep it Reality Check. Bye-bye.